Right, I think the recording started. Morning, everyone. Let everyone join. Welcome. So today for this webinar on Work Smarter with Copilot Strategies to Maximise Your Investment. So welcome everybody. This should be a good session. In today's session, we're going to explore how Copilot can help you work smarter, save time, and hopefully unlock some new possibilities in your day-to-day life. We've got two subject matter experts here. We've got Chris Neal first. Chris has been leading organisations through digital transformation with Microsoft 365 Copilot, helping turn AI into practical results. His experience lies in bridging strategy with hands-on deployment, so you'll hear insights that are grounded in real success stories. Alongside him, we've got Aaron Horan, who brings deep experience in IT solutions and customer success. Aaron has worked closely with businesses to simplify workflows, automate repetitive tasks, and maximise the value of Microsoft 365. He's passionate about making technology approachable and impactful, and today he'll share practical strategies for weaving Copilot seamlessly into your daily operations. One quick note before we dive in, we'd love for this to be interactive. You'll see a questions and answers or a Q&A function available in your webinar window. Please use it to submit your questions at any time during the presentation. I will be moderating the live Q&A and will answer your question in the dedicated section at the end. If we end up with too many questions at the end, feel free to submit them as part of your feedback and we can get back to you afterwards. So thank you everyone again for being here. Settle in and let's discover how Copilot can help us all achieve more with less effort. Welcome again and enjoy. Over to you, boys.
Cool, awesome. Yeah, welcome everyone, and yeah, glad to have you all on board, and also so intrigued to see how passionate you guys are in terms of the AI roadmap or like the AI journey you guys are looking to pursue. So today we've got a couple of key topics here that we'll be covering here. To start off with, we'll be covering with the how to prompt effectively with Copilot, and then we'll delve into how Copilot works in Excel and how you can use it with your data sheets and whatnot. Then we'll also cover around the analysis and the researcher agent, which is available in Copilot, followed by using Copilot in PowerPoint, how you can better utilize Copilot to generate your slide decks and not. So also around how you can personalize your Copilot so it actually becomes your real AI personal assistant and like is communicated in the tone that you would normally speak in. And then followed by, we've got a Copilot dictionary, which is a new innovation to Copilot, which can help with the deeper understanding of Copilot. And following on to that, there'll be some licensing discussions, which Matt will go over in the end of it, and some training options that CodeBlue has to offer, and we'll go through that. Moving on, so how to effectively prompt with the prompt coach. So again, just taking back a step, so prompting with Copilot is quite an art. So there is like four core foundations of prompt coach would actually give you an effective prompt. So the four foundations are the goal, context, the effectiveness of the prompt, and also that includes improving the accuracy of the data you get back, so and leading you to save time. Now, let me actually show you how to work with prompt coach in Copilot to get the effective prompts right. Cool. So this screen that I'm on at the moment is the unified Copilot screen, which is also called the BizChat in Microsoft terms. So the prompt coach is actually one of the agents which Microsoft have published in the unified Copilot. So how to get to that agent? So basically, you click on all agents on your unified screen, And in the list of agents, you see here, there's prompt coach. Now, what you'll see there's a number of coaches in there. So there's idea coach, there's writing coach, but today we are only going to focus on prompt coach. So to add prompt coach to your Copilot, you basically click on prompt coach and go add. Now, so at times, if you don't see that in your Copilot window, that's because your IT administrator might have actually blocked it on the Microsoft tenant. So please consult your IT administrator and they can have a look into it. So now, since you've added your the prompt coach to your Copilot, it's always nice to pin it as well, because otherwise it can get lost behind the window. So here I've got a couple of prompts that I've already pre-baked for you guys. So just to give you an understanding of what the like a good prompt looks like. So if I take this first prompt here and copy that, then I'll analyze this with Copilot. So here you'll see there's a pre-generated activations in Copilot. So if I do analyze prompt, and then here I'll paste in my prompt. So it's going to go and analyze the prompt, ensuring those 4 foundations are met. So i.e. the goal, context, the audience it's targeting, and the expectation. So using my original prompt, it's actually utilized all those 4 core foundations and actually improved my prompt. So if I was using the first prompt, I would most likely would have to do quite a few interactions with Copilot to get to where I want it to be. Versus if I use the improved prompt, I would get the results faster, quicker, and much more contextual results here. So the second prompt that I've got here was one of the prompts that I've actually formulated with the prompt coach. So you can actually see the difference. One is quite a one-liner prompt versus the other one is quite comprehensive. So that's what you can do in prompt coach. I know this is just the one coach that I spoke of. There are various the writing coach and idea coach as well, which is quite powerful too. So I'd highly encourage exploring and experimenting with it to see what fits best in your workflow. So
just before we continue, we'll just say that everything that we're going to show and demo today is possible through the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is a licensed product. The things that we're covering today are not available within just Copilot, and just Copilot is the version that everyone gets with their business license without paying any extra for it.
Cool. Moving on. So now let's see what Copilot can do in Excel. So let's say you've got a really complex data set and you would like to analyze that data set to get better understanding of what the data set compiles of. So that's where Copilot comes in really handy and helps you in analyzing the data. Let me actually show you in demo how that works. So I've got this Excel data sheet here, and this data set is basically compiled of a automobile company. This is a fictional company, just FYI. So that's based on the vehicles around the ICE vehicles, that be the petrol vehicles, BEV hybrid and plug-in hybrid. So I've already got some pre-baked prompts that I'd like to go over here. So there's a prompt for the sale trend and forecast for this company. So if I just copy this and paste it into the data set. So Copilot is just in the top right-hand corner here. So if you click on Copilot, and you can just paste the prompt here and go off with it. One thing you'll notice here, so in the unified Copilot, the GPT-5 version of the LLM module is available. So it's actually available in the apps as well. So if I click on the 3 drop down here and click on try GPT-5, so that's actually going to use GPT-5 to formulate my data. And I can now go ahead with the prompt. It's going to take time to think, and it's going to review the data. So one thing to note here, this prompt, this window here actually works just inside this Excel data. It's not going to look outside of the Excel data. So it's currently analyzing with Copilot. So it's actually going across all the tabs to get all the relevant details about the revenue and sales of this company. And it's going to do the forecast for me for the next 3 months. So we'll have a clear visuality of what the company is looking for in the months, coming months. So if I click on the analysis drop down, so you can see what all it's doing in the background. So these sort of things, we obviously like if when you're experts in Excel, this actually comes really handy. So this is just the analyzing side of things for Copilot, but there are things where it can actually do formulas for you as well. So if you have a really big data set of like a lot of numbers in it, and you want something like formulated up, so you can actually ask Copilot to write that formula for you, which you can plug into that data set. So as you see here, it's actually formulated quite a lot of graphs here. So if you were to use that for like a PPT preparation, you can actually use that there. And it's given you a nice CSV of what the next 3 months forecast is going to be for the company. And some actionable items here as well, what you can do with the inventory. And if there's any risk identified as part of this analysis, it'll actually show you. So that's some of the things that you can do with Excel. Now, we're going to delve into the analysis and research agent, where Aaron's going to actually show you how you can further extend your the data set to actually do the analysis of it and get some contextual results out of it. Over to you, Aaron.
Thanks, Christian. Yeah, so I'm going to be covering 2 agents in particular within the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Again, this is paid version. You do not get this in the free version. So the first one we're going to go over is the analysis agent, and the analysis agent is very similar in a lot of ways to what you can do within the actual Excel application, except for one major difference in that you don't need to actually open your file. So if I grab, sorry, I've got it. So if I grab the mouse here and just go to 365 Copilot, and I know I've said it a couple of times already, that there is a free version and a paid version, but the way that you can easily tell is just here at the top of the screen. I have a web and a work. If you have opened the 365, your Copilot button, which will look similar but may not say M365 on it, and you don't see these 2 options, or you don't see that M365 logo on there, you are not using a paid version of Copilot. So as I said, we are going to be talking about the analyst agent. We have 3. We have 3 agents there now that Krishnil's added the prompt coach. So we're going to click on the analyst agent. And the way we do this is the first thing that you always look at when you're looking at a new agent is you look at the established prompts that are already there, because they give you an idea of what that agent is actually for. This is especially true for the Microsoft created agents in the list here. There are quite a few that are all Microsoft created or have been created by other third parties that Microsoft has sanctioned. So within the analyst agent here, the way that I'm going to do this today is I'm going to ask the agent to give me 10 trends about my data set. So first I'm going to add my file, my data set that I wanted to actually look at, which is the same data set that Krishnil has already shown or used. So we upload our document there, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to say, show me 10 trends about my data set. Now, Krishnil talked about GPT-5 before. These agents typically use GPT-5 natively. They don't use GPT-4. A lot of people wonder what the differences between them are. GPT-5 is going to do a much deeper look at whatever you're asking it to do. Because it's much deeper, typically it is going to take quite a lot longer than you may be used to. If you've been prompting like a champion up till now, just asking questions, you'll know that without using GPT-5, it's a very quick answer. Maybe it hasn't gone and looked too hard. It's sort of gone through the first things, and you'll get an answer. But as you can see here, it takes quite a while, and I don't really want to make you all wait for that answer. So I'm just going to go out of that and then back into the agent and pull the cooking show and say, here's one I prepared earlier. And we'll just give that a second. Oh, she's all fallen over. It's running the same prompt still. Hang on a second.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll do the old one. And there we can see that it has looked through the document and it's shown me 10 trends. Now, in my position that I do on a daily basis, I end up checking a lot of reports. I know how to check those reports and I know how to get that data, but it would be much simpler if I could just export that out and then send it straight through to the analyst agent and get it to just show me things so that I can just see relevant data. And you can ask many different types of questions to the analyst agent. I like to show me trends just because it's just quick. But in the agent, you can also, there's a prompt here, create a table with the volume of planets, add a column to show multiple of Earths in a row to show how the sun compares to the volume of the sun. That type of prompt is also showing us that you can ask more anecdotal things not related to actual data that you already have. The next agent that I'm going to talk about is the researcher agent. I, in particular, really find the researcher agent helpful, but there's several different reasons for why it's helpful. Now, when it first came out, it was sort of about asking the researcher agent to go out to the internet and collate a whole lot of information for you. So you can ask things that are not related to your work, and you can ask things that are related to your work. So the first question, again, this agent uses GPT-5, and that will mean it will take a long time, about 15 to 20 minutes to actually run the prompts. So I'm not effectively going to run that now and make everyone wait, and we're just going to go with ones that I've already run. So the first one here was I asked the agent to research Hector's dolphins. For those not in the South Island, the Hector's dolphin is very similar to the Maui dolphin. It's a very endangered species. I asked, research Hector's dolphin decline and sustainability. I want to know what we're doing as a country to protect this much-loved creature. Do this research over the last 20 years and track if we are now seeing increased numbers, or rather track what measures have been taken and seen the most success. So it's read my prompt, it's then asked the question, which I've then said, let's focus on New Zealand and also add in the Maui dolphin, being that they're virtually the same. And then it has 20 minutes later provided me with all of this information about the Hector's dolphin that I did not know before. Again, like all AI, check, reference, most things will be able to be clicked on. For example, it shows its references so that you can see the information. So really cool. You can see that it's gathered a lot of information, and I could keep prompting on top of that to get more information if I wanted. So that one's great, but that's interesting, but maybe not so helpful for my work. So what's a prompt that would be helpful for my work? Well, CodeBlue is an IT company and we deal with a lot of hardware. The hardware that we typically sell most of, we are agnostic, but we do sell mostly HP. And there's a very good reason for that, which is because of the warranty support. The next largest provider probably in New Zealand would be Lenovo. So what if I could do product research, vendor research via the agent, which you absolutely can. So I've done another prompt here, researching whether Lenovo support can offer me the same offerings as what HP support can, and if it would be worth us shifting. Not that I'm in any way, shape, or form able to make that decision, but just as an interest sake. So I asked that question. Again, it asked another question, which the researcher agent will always do. It will always ask a follow-up question, but you can just tell it to run. And then it's gone and gathered all the information about Lenovo support. It's referenced itself, websites it's getting the information from, and somewhere in there, if I were to actually read through it, it would say what Lenovo provides that HP doesn't, which isn't a whole lot. They're very, very similar. And in fact, they use the same vendor for the actual who comes out to fix your computer, which I found interesting. But what's really helpful for work is the status tracker. So in the Copilot chat here, or unified Copilot, one of the prompts we always said right from the early days to get people to test Copilot was, we said, I've been away for 7 days, tell me what I've missed. And it would go through your Teams and your emails and all the information that you have access to, and it would tell you what you missed. But it was a bit hit and miss on the ways that the information it would get. So the researcher obviously does a much deeper job. So I've actually run a status tracker here, and we'll see what that actually displayed. So it says it says I've got some items in a planner somewhere that I need to work on. We're actually using a persona here as part of this training for someone called Rena, and she's a store manager for a retail company. And it's gone through what Rena has, what's waiting on her, what she needs to do, what her recommendations are. So you can see straight away, because we all have those problems. We all wish we had an assistant, and some people do have an assistant, but not everyone does. It would be great to have that, and items like the researcher agent here can help us to do so. That's about what about all of what I'm going to cover so far on the researcher agent. And if I minimize here and go back to our PowerPoint prompt here, as it says, the researcher agent is about that rapid knowledge acquisition, just getting a lot of knowledge, pulling a lot of knowledge from a lot of sources, pulling it together to be in front of your eyes. But the big buzzwords for the last year or so have been agentic AI and what agents can do for you. And the first question that a lot of people will probably have is, what is the difference between Copilot agents and custom GPTs that ChatGPT uses? And the main difference here is what it says on this slide. The Copilot agents are built within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem. They have integration with Microsoft services, connectors, and organizational data. And they have enterprise-grade security and identity management, meaning that the agents are built for business, and they're built first for business. The custom GPTs, ChatGPT, is a consumer-led product, which is why we find it really good to use at home. But in a business sense, using Copilot agents and Copilot itself can be better for us. Here. So we're going to go through creating an agent. I'll ask forgiveness now for any issues with demos. I have already created it just in case this does not work. But within an organization, you can often have issues with document quality control. So within here, I have two files that I have a policy template, and if I open that policy template here, you can see that there are 5 main sections in that. And you can imagine that if someone creates another policy off this template, it should have those same 5 sections or should have same sorts of information in it. And if I then close that one and go back there and open the next one, you will see that it's missing one of the sections. There's not 5, there's only 4. So a manual check would let us find that information. That's really handy. But this is a very repeatable and monotonous task of doing quality control on documents. So it would be really good if we could just create a quick agent to do that. And creating agents sounds scary, but in reality, it's not. So how do we do it? We click on the button here to create an agent. It may look slightly different for you depending on which version of Copilot is running and depending on update schedules. This particular screen here does look a little bit scary. This is the configure screen. I'm not a computer programmer. I'm a systems engineer. We're much more GUI related or graphical user interface and not programming related. So I'm going to click on describe instead. So this looks a lot more friendly. It said I'm here to help you build your agent, and you can start by describing what you want the agent to do. So what I want the agent to do is I want it to create an agent that will compare an original template policy document against a submitted policy document. The agent needs to check that the sections align and nothing is missing to help us with quality control. So that sounds really good. Let's go with that and paste that in there. Thank you. And we'll go with that. Now, it's going to ask a question back after it's looked at our prompt. And by the way, if we decide that we're not very good with this, as in we don't really like the prompt that we're putting, it's not getting the right answer that we want, you can always put this prompt into the prompt coach and say, I am trying to create an agent. I basically wanted to do this. Can you create a prompt for me? And it will create that prompt and make it have all of the right contextual things. But as an example here, based on what you can just type out in your mind, it will do a pretty decent job of this. So it says it's been set up to compare an original template policy against a submitted policy document. Now let's choose a name, and it's suggested using the name Policy Comparison Assistant, but I already have one there called that. So I'm going to say, how about version 2.0 policy checker? And then we'll see what that does, which you can see it has actually updated that name, and it's updated it verbatim, not realized that I should have capitalized something in there, but that is by the by. Now, what I need to do is I need to give it that template as a reference or a knowledge source. So I can do that in 2 ways. I can go back to the configure tab and I can add it as a knowledge source here. But that's a bit more programming and not me. Much easier if I just grab my file and drag it to there and paste it in, and it will add that in. So it's adding the file, and it says it's knowledge source, and I'm saying, great, this is my template. Just in case it doesn't know that that's the template. And there we go. We're all pretty much good at that point. It's asking if I want to add more information, and it will just sit there and prompt back to me all the time asking if I want more information. So don't think if you try this, oh no, it's not going to work. It's literally just going to keep asking questions. So at this point, I actually want to create this. At the moment, this agent is only available for Rena here as the persona that we're using. If you're doing this for yourself, it's only available for yourself. So you can create agents that you would use on a day-to-day basis that other people may not. It is created. We'll go to our agent. Here we go. And now I want to check my finalized policy document that someone has worked very hard on and submitted it, but we know that it's obviously wrong. So I'll drag and drop that in, or I can click the plus icon up attach cloud files, upload images and files, or add work content. All of those work. And I can then say compare the policy documents. So you'll notice that it created prompts to give ideas of what this agent could do, really handy. But I'm just going to go with the first one here. And I'm going to say compare it. It goes away, thinks about it, checks both documents. And we should see that it is missing a section, which it is. It's missing a scope of services. So really simple agent created there to go through what, a simple agent to do a repeatable task for us. If you are doing this for PDFs, I will say a caveat to the simplicity of this. In a PDF, you may want to actually share out, annotate that PDF document. If you want to do that, you do need a paid PDF service to do that, just as a aside. That's agents.
Aaron,
Yes.
sorry, just before you jump off agents, there's just a quick question. You'll be able to answer it really quickly. Could you just show that little green tick in the top right corner? So the question was, when we're in agents, just next to that. Yeah. So the question was, when we're in agents, there's no web or work. It's always secured inside your environment. As you can see, that enterprise data protection's there all the time, even inside agents.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Matt. And that goes to another reason why Copilot agents over custom GPT within business. You can make custom GPTs and ChatGPT work safe, but you have to do things to make it that way. Whereas with Copilot, you don't have to do anything to make it that way. It is that way out of the box. Cool. Okay, we're going to talk about PowerPoint, and I know that PowerPoint was covered in the last webinar that CodeBlue ran, but PowerPoint has come a long way. PowerPoint has always and is always going to be my favorite use of Copilot, just because it saves me so much time. The basic premise of it, as Matt showed in the last webinar, was he loaded PowerPoint and he asked Copilot to use a document that he had already created to create PowerPoint slides and do 90% of the work for him, which was really good. But not quite yet. But what we can do now is we can use templates that we've created where you couldn't do that before. So we're going to show that. I'll just do it here. So if we go back to our demo window and we load up PowerPoint. In the way that you used to do this, you used to go into PowerPoint, you would then click on the Copilot icon here, and there was a particular prompt that you could use to create a slide. So if you've done this before, it doesn't work that way anymore. As you can see, there's create an image or find slides from similar decks, but there's nothing about creation here. So to create, we actually need to click on File and then go Create with Copilot. So we do that, and here it says Create a presentation about. So I'm going to give it a reference file, and I want to give it a particular reference file. So how about I just find that? If I go up there, and whoops, sorry, if I go, it's not actually there, sorry. I'll just do it based on my prompts file here. So we're more focused on the design than the content here. Sorry, there's another file I was meant to put in there, which I obviously haven't put in. So there's my prompts. So that's my reference file, but I want to change what that is actually going to look like when it creates this. It says here it's going to use this basic presentation, which is going to look something like what the designer says there. And if I click on change design, I've got some options. So there's a couple of different designs. I can click on Microsoft, and then there is a bunch of other ones, and I can decide one that looks good if we don't have a corporation one already. But typically we're going to have a corporation marketing strategy, which is going to determine that when we create a PowerPoint slide, it needs to look a certain way. So we can actually do that. So I've prepared a corporate designed one, and I'm going to select that. Now to set this up, it does not work out of the box. There is some IT admin setup. There's something called an organizational asset library, which needs to be created. It's not a whole lot of work, but it can be created to allow this. We're going to select that design, and then we're going to say, okay, and go ahead. And it will create a slide about our prompts. I just wanted to actually display it. So I've just clicked keep going. And it will be done any second. And the reason why we wanted to show this part is because it's been requested a lot. Can we use our templates? Can we use our templates? Because of course we want to use our templates. And there was a way to do it before, but you had to do things in a convoluted way. I did manage to make it work one day, but it probably took an hour to make it work. So this would make it so that it's going to work right out of the box. So here I now have a PowerPoint that has been created using the particular style that file used. So yeah, the long-awaited feature is there with a little bit of setup. It's not a whole lot, and away we go. That covers what I'll be covering today. So back to you, Chris.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Awesome. So let's just jump back into the slide deck here. So let's minimize this. Cool. So now I'll be covering the personalization of Copilot. So obviously, like who've been like conversing with Copilot on a regular basis, and so the response you'd get back from Copilot if you don't have this in place will be quite robotic, or like it's not in the tone that you normally speak in. So that's where the custom instructions actually comes in and actually helps you get the Copilot feedback done a bit better, and it's the tone is set right to what you'd like, and the details, the style preference, and the data context is all clear. Then we've got memory. So what memory does, it actually understands and remembers the likes of, let's say you work in a particular department. Let's say you work in a marketing department and you deal with a lot of marketing blogs, and you have to, and also the likes of you attend a lot of meetings. So it actually takes account of all that. Now, what's the benefits of using this? So once Copilot actually remembers you and you've got the custom instructions spot on, with that, Copilot actually formulates the context quite efficiently and faster as well. And like you see in the example, I've got some examples about myself where I, like for the memory, I'd say, remember that I work on ancient projects, and keep in mind that I prefer concise answers, because at times Copilot can get quite overwhelmed of the response it gives you, where you have to go round robin to actually get to the answer that you actually want. So let me actually show you how the custom instructions and the memory works in action. So I'll just minimize this and jump back into the demo. So to get to custom instructions, basically, let's go back to chat, and on the top right hand corner, click on the three dots and go settings, then onto personalization. So again, this section here, if it's grayed out for yourself, then most likely the IT administrator might have blocked it in the environment. So that, like obviously you can do some controls over this if you want to allow it or block it. So let's go over the custom instructions first. So I've already got some instructions here for this persona that we're using here. So her name is Rena. She's a store manager, and obviously being a store manager, the goal of your role is you're quite results driven, and you have to have a persuasive tone in order to sell and maintain the customer engagement, and also focusing on the revenue and the customer trends and the inventory stock to ensure that you've got a constant flow of your inventory, and ensuring that you obviously like the product, evaluate between the products in demand and which are like going out of stock or going out of life. So you got to account for all that, and also including the sales targets and the actuals and around the actionable things that you look into here. So if I before I go into showing you how that works, I'll just quickly go over the Copilot memory as well. So with Copilot memory, there's I'll actually show you shortly of how that actually is formulated and that gets published here. Again, same story for this one. If it's blocked by your IT administrator, then you won't actually see this, and this toggle button will actually be off. If it's not blocked by your IT administrator and you'd like to turn it off, it's just a matter of turning off the toggle, and it won't actually remember your memory. So let's go into seeing how that actually works. So if I just go over to the prompts that I've actually baked for this. So basically here, if I say, let's say, I'd like to advise Chris Neil on a new product that is coming through. So now it's actually using that custom instructions to give me the actual what I'm actually what I've asked to the Copilot prompt here. So then also let's go over like how that actually works in the prompts side of things to make it a memory. So if I just click open this, so here in the prompt I've got here is ask me 3 questions about myself that you'd like to remember, and make it a mixture of personal and casual, and also after it's asked the first question, it's going to wait for my answer to actually ask me the second one. So if I just go over this, copy this, and let's do a new chat and paste it in here. Now it's going to ask me what's the one professional milestone that you're proud of. I'd say customer success, or sure, my spelling is not right, but
it does forgive spelling errors, thankfully.
And then one skill area you'd like to develop in your career is, and as you see here, that it's actually got some pre-formulated responses here as well. So, but I'll go with the better best. Yes. And then one hobby that I love doing in my free time, let's say, love nature. And then go track my goals. And as you see up there, it's updated in my memory. So now if I go back to the memory settings, there will be a set of memories added in there. So here I want to become operations manager, and so it's actually done gathered all that memory, and it's imported in there. So now moving on, there's this other piece which is quite new in Copilot as well, which is called the Copilot dictionary. So this is basically a list of items in a CSV file which gets uploaded in the backend of Copilot. Again, this is something which requires your IT administrator to do it for you, but you can actually formulate that the dictionary and then liaise with the IT administrator to upload that in the admin center. The requirement, the benefits on using this is, let's say, if a organization is quite heavily integrated with the Te Reo Māori and would like to understand the terms of how that indulges with everyone's workflow. So my example today is totally based off that. So if I just go on to the demo session again, 1 second. So I'll just quickly show you what the dictionary looks like. So it's basically a CSV file, and it's got three main headings, 4 main headings here. And if you see in let's say the Maori terms here, it actually like gives you a pronunciation and what the wording is about. And so if I just quickly go over in the Copilot and show you how that works. So if I just go over back to my prompt and copy this prompt here, then paste it in. So I'm going to ask like how our team's Mahi contributes to achieving our shared goals. And now Copilot's going to adhere to that. And as you see up there, it's actually recognized Mahi's work. And it's given you all the contextual data versus if you would have to work in the terms. So works really well in that aspect. And vice versa, also like depending on what you'd like to put in the dictionary, it's going to understand it and work. One thing to note though, once you've uploaded the dictionary, it can take up to 24 to 48 hours to actually propagate across each object. So this dictionary actually can work within the new unified Copilot and can work within Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and whatnot as well. So yeah, just gotta give it some time when you upload it, and it's gonna be up there. Cool. So going back into the slide deck here, so now we'll have Matt Bourne actually come back on, and he's gonna talk over some of the new licensings that has come on for Copilot. Over to you, Matt.
Sweet, thanks. Okay, so at Microsoft Ignite 2 weeks ago, Microsoft announced the Microsoft 365 Copilot for Business. Now, obviously, there's caveats around this. For example, it can only be attached to a business license. But for for New Zealand-based customers, predominantly a lot of our customers use Microsoft 365 Business Premium, so this license works really well for them. At the moment, there is no difference between M365 Copilot and M365 Business. Now, Microsoft has said this will evolve over time, which more likely means that they will add things to M365 Copilot Enterprise, which business may or may not get. At the moment, they are both identical. And then obviously the bottom bit there, who is this for? So any users that use business licensing through Microsoft. Now we've got a couple of options. There is a whole host of these, but I've specified 2 main ones. One of them is the Copilot for Business add-on. So this one is if you already have licenses with Business Premium or Basic, you can add Copilot onto that license at a cost of $35.07 per user per month, and normal Copilot would be $51. So this is based on a monthly payment annual commit. And then down the bottom, you've got Microsoft Copilot Business Premium plus the M365 Copilot Business bundle. So they're bundling the 2 together, and currently the cost for that is $73.08. Now, being Microsoft, down the bottom, there's a promo that's running at the moment. If you do purchase these, the add-ons can be anywhere between 1 and up. The promo price drops down to $30.35 per user. But the real value comes in when you look at the bundle. So $54.81 per user per month for the promo price, which is a 25% discount. If you consider that Business Premium by itself is normally $38-ish, you're basically getting Copilot for $16, $17 per user for the first year. So that pricing is, quite different. They've definitely realised that it was a bit too much. So what they've done for the business market, they've allowed that. They have also allowed upgrades from your current bundle if you've got Business Premium. Mid-term, you can upgrade to the bundle. But if you want to talk any further about licensing, there's a lot of other options. There's also a promo going on with Microsoft Copilot Enterprise as well, if you're not a business customer. So more than happy to talk further about those. Let us know on the feedback form and we can reach out and discuss further. On to the next slide, please, Chris. The last bit I wanted to talk about quickly before we go into the final Q&A. Just want to talk about some of the Copilot and Microsoft 365 training that we've got available. So we've got 4 different main areas of training that we do. So one of them is an executive kickstart Copilot training. And what this one is a one-on-one training with someone from the executive team. And we do it over a few weeks. So we do multiple training sessions. And the idea is to understand what they do in a day and see how Copilot or AI can actually help function throughout their day and improve on their day-to-day life and take away some of those mundane tasks. We then move into, we've got our Microsoft 365 Copilot training, which is made for general end users. We do it as an interactive classroom style training, generally on the customer site. And we try and do this in groups of in between about 8 and 12, means we get a really good engage. And obviously everyone in the room needs to have their laptop and their license available because it's quite interactive. So the staff will actually be using it. And we do those across a couple of sessions. And then we've got our Copilot training with Office. And this is for Windows 11, so using Microsoft Office. One thing we've discovered is that when I first started my career, most businesses still used to train on how to use Word and how to use Excel and how to use Windows. And nowadays, with a lot of the younger generation coming through, and they've only ever used Android tablets or Chromebooks, they actually don't know how to do all the basic things inside Office and Windows. So we've included that as a training option. And the last one is if we're doing a project, we can do a full transformation project training around moving to full modern cloud or, Copilot as part of that, and that can be customized based on your requirements. Cool. And then if you move on to the next slide. Right, I think I've tried to answer as many questions as I can. Now, I will apologize now because obviously we've only got about 9 minutes of our webinar left. If your question does not get answered, I've got a feedback form that's going to come up in a second. Please put your question into the feedback form. We will come back to you with an answer. So that's really important. There was a couple of questions that I did want to pass over to the boys. So one of them was from Louise. What guidance would you recommend organisations have in place to ensure the outputs that businesses use from Copilot are acknowledged as coming from an AI tool?
Yeah,
that's a good question. To be honest, I'm not actually. You take it because I'm stumped.
I'd say like the response again, what you get from Copilot. It's like, although it might look a fully furnished response, it's better to actually review it and ensure that like what you've asked it and it's in your terms and you've achieved the goal that you're trying to achieve here. So that's what I'd say there.
So I'll probably add to that. One of the big things I would say is that, a Copilot response will never completely repeat, at least not at the time, will not completely replace a person's knowledge. So the way I use a lot of Copilot and AI, and the way I treat it is whatever I get out of Copilot, I treat as a draft, and then I go through and review it and edit it from there. So it does that drafting for me, and then I make sure that I'm happy when I send it out or anything like that. The other big one I would say is having some sort of for your business, which dictates how you would like AI stuff treated. And having an AI policy or a generative AI policy is something that I would definitely recommend businesses look at if you don't already have one. And the last one would be just training your staff, teaching them, how to get the best out of it, but also what to do with the information when it comes out.
Matt, I'd add one more thing to that as well. So outside of that, also, you have your AI policy established for the organization, and set up the Copilot guardrails inside of the tenant as well, because that's a quite a crucial step before you implement Copilot in the organization. So that's where you can control what Copilot can see, where the search is liaising and whatnot. So that's quite a crucial part to set up. Thanks, Matt.
Yep. Got another question here. Can you enter your own memory prompts rather than asking it to present questions?
So for the memory side of things, you'd have to actually interact with Copilot to build that. You can't add a memory manually.
Cool.
It can be in the form of questions, or you are just interacting with Copilot, and Copilot is storing that as a memory. So how you do it is you basically are telling Copilot, remember I do this, or remember, like using the I beginnings quite a lot. So that actually helps generate the memories.
Cool. There's a question here around educational licenses. Yes, they do have educational licenses. No, I do not know the cost off the top of my head, but if you reach out to us, we'll be able to find that costing for you. Is the license available on a monthly commit? At the moment, not that I'm aware of. They're all annual commit, monthly bill, or annual commit, annual bill. Yeah, and Microsoft have been quite firm on that since the start. They haven't actually given a monthly commit for any Copilot licenses so far, and I can't see that changing. Cool. There was another question here just before we wrap up. This one here. So how safe is it to utilize confidential based business information and using prompt, etc. on this information? So this is a slightly hard question to answer because it depends on your industry and depends on what compliance requirements and so that you have, and what your risk levels are. But in general, personally, I put information in there up to a point. I never put anything that's super sensitive or with a bunch of customer names and things like that. But yeah, the information you put into Copilot does not get used to train the model. It doesn't go out or anything like that. So it is safe, but at the same point, you're still putting information into a system. So there is always an element of risk there. But in this situation, the risk is quite small. What I would definitely recommend, though, if you want to feel a little bit safer about it, that little green box that Aaron was showing with the tick in it, if you click on that, there's a little link there which has all the legal information about the Enterprise Data Protection Act that Microsoft follow, and it specifies how everything is done, how all the information is treated, what things it's combined by. So if you click on that, see there's a link there, it actually opens up, gives you all the information about their data protection, what's covered. I would 100% recommend reading through this. And there's a whole bunch of extra links in there about what you can find out and where the queries go, the flow of the data. The one thing is a lot of the information, so a lot of the Copilot transactions at the moment still happen in Australia. For New Zealand customers, even though we have data center in New Zealand now, Copilot is still completed in Australia. So if you've got sovereignty things, then you need to take those sort of things into account. But yeah, overall, that's probably the best information I can give there. If you'd like to talk further about that, more than happy to discuss further. We've got our CISO here as well, which we'll be able to bring into the conversation. He's very familiar with this sort of thing as well. Yeah. And I think we're going to have to draw it to a close there as we are right at the end of time. Is there any other question that you guys want to make?
Matt, there's one more question about cost for the group training.
Yeah, it's probably best off for group training.
Yeah, it's in the Q&A.
Oh yeah. Probably the best thing is if we just reach out. If they just reach out, or put a note in there they'd like us to reach out, and then we can give them a cost for the training based on their number of groups that they would like to have trained and what they would like trained on. but we'll make a note to reach out. Right, so I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today. You all felt that you got something out of this session. We are going to try and continue to do these style sessions with information to educate people on the good, the bad, the AI and what it can do, and just being aware of what you're putting in there. And we would love some feedback because that helps us dictate how we go on the next. This webinar here was purely from feedback. So last one we were for a bit more of a bit more wider information as to these Copilot that we've presented. So feedback is really, and as a we're going to give away $100 Prezi cards as for the feedback. So if you want to go and to win one of those, just need to provide some feedback to us, scanning the QR code on the screen. And as I say, if you've got any further questions or answer anything, or you reach out to you about anything, just add that into the form, and we will make we'll touch base with you. And on behalf of Chris, Aaron, and the entire team, thank you guys for all taking the time out of your day to come and sit and listen to us. And we look forward to seeing you in our next session. Have a great day.
Thanks all.
Cool. Thanks, team.